All right, I think I'm on. Not sure. Oh, look at that. I might have actual. Yes, I'm in. Yay! Okay. This is such a bummer. I had recorded for like an hour or so, I thought. But there was some hidden settings that somehow, I don't know if I did an update on my machine and they defaulted back to something, but anyway, it was a really good video, I'm sure. So that was a couple of hours ago. And so now what you see here is my whisk. I have a old whisk. I'm going to guess it's from like the 1940s or 1950s. And in my earlier session, it was an aluminum panel that had nothing on it. And so I actually started drawing it out in reverse with this part of it on the bottom, and then something wasn't right, and then when I flipped it over to where it is now, I could see that I had the proportions were quite off. So it took me about an hour to get to this spot, and when I last left, I was doing the background, and I still have some things to kind of deal with in the shape of this. And it may be better for me to stand up when I paint this, although I'm going to kind of keep on going. So what I'm really bummed about is I had lots of good commentary. Well, at least I felt it was really good commentary. Starting out with the fact that for people who didn't know or who may be just joining for the first time, I have several other videos, that are pretty darn raw. Let's just face the facts there. I don't go back and edit. I don't do anything. But if you're just joining, I am an artist. I taught art for 24 years to middle school and high school students. And anyway, so now, and I am an artist that has aphantasia, which is the inability to to pull up memories or images in my mind. Okay, so there you go. And if you want to get more detailed on that, you can go back to like video 1 or 2 or anyway. So I got a grant and to kind of explore this process here of how I actually do process, because I am an artist, and a lot of people ask me, well, how can you even be an artist if you can't see, any visions in your head? And and one of the comments I had made earlier was two things: is I have enough life experience using some of these tools that I have observed them quite well, and I think that's part of it. Just and I analyze a lot of times how an object will work. I'm not mechanically minded. Maybe I could be, but it was never really an interest of mine. So it's like for the whisk here, one of the things excuse me, I was talking about was this is a wooden handle. This is unlike other whisk, which are made of all kind of metal wire loops, so to speak, and they have more of a teardrop shape. I don't know if I can turn this upside down here without getting too much paint on me. Yeah. Here. It looks a little funny to me this direction. So there's something still not quite right. Maybe this has to come down here more. Um, and where those will have kind of strands of metal here, and I think there's some wrapping of some wires here, and then it's more of a teardrop shape, where this one here is a wood handle, and then these metal loops are, I don't know if they're totally secured, but the wrapping around it at least covers the end bits. My guess is if you were to take that off, there might be some holes where they start, and when we get to the point where I've taken this painting is finished and it's sent off, a photograph is sent off for the reproduction print, then when I go to draw on it for correction, then we'll find out for sure. But it's just a big mystery in the meantime, right? So I think that this is a little bit different here, but I'm going to kind of finish this background. Oh, that was the other thing I was telling people. It's such a beautiful day here in Minnesota today that I decided to gather my stuff and haul it out to the porch. I have a screen porch which has a table which has oil paint on it now. And if you're not experienced in our climate and maybe live in more mild areas of the country or wherever you live in the world, winters, they haven't seemed to be too brutal lately, but they can be. They can be really long. And so by the time that we get to spring, and we've had a really nice gradual spring this year, is you are ready to be outdoors at, it'll be 40 degrees and you're like, let's go, let's be outside. And unfortunately, though, with spring comes a lot of, how does this go? A lot of pollen. And today, that's probably why I'm coughing. Today, there's been a lot, it's very, very high. Okay, I just am not figuring out. That didn't work. Because here's the thing: is like, I know if well, when I feel like something is correct, I kind of know it, I recognize it, but it's getting there. So I'm just kind of reforming the shape here a little bit. And maybe this comes down just a little bit more. First, maybe those wires do come down a little bit. Kind of, straight down from this, and then maybe they're bent to create that part. I think I gotta stand up and look. Okay, I think that's okay. Like to get some three-dimensional quality on this. Yeah, it was really too bad that whole thing happened with the live streaming. All of that live streaming stuff is very new to me. And so I actually have a streaming software that I found. It's actually was free, but it works really good with my little Ozbot camera that I have. And one of the reasons I chose to do that is because when I was using the other thing, I couldn't have a fixed camera view. And because my camera is kind of made for, well, put it this way, if you were doing some dance videos, which will not ever happen here, but it would follow you along, so you can set it up and do some pretty crazy things. I can make myself look about 10 years younger, and I think I have that setting like permanently on there, which is kind of cool. Okay. But I was never one for wearing a lot of makeup, or a little bit, but just never liked the painted face look, and I didn't like the way it felt. Okay, let's step back a second. It's a little too, possibly a little too round. Right in there. I don't know if I probably mentioned this before, but if you notice, I'm holding my paintbrush way back, and there's an unbelievable amount of control holding it like that, and as like kids, I think, we're always holding it like this, and not that I don't do that, but especially when you're standing up, there's just this kind of unbelievable control that you have. Maybe not the first time you try it, but now it looks like a light bulb, so I'll be working on this probably a lot more than some of my other ones. I have to think about if I want to go in and maybe what I'll do here is almost take my pencil and kind of scrape away where I think, because this is an aluminum panel under here, and so it's I don't even know what I'm saying now. Okay. So I think I'm going to paint that a little bit darker to kind of match this, and then make my whisk colors. And maybe what I'm going to do here. No, I'll be fine. I was going to take a picture of it, so that I had a reference to look, but I think I'll just be fine. I'm just going to go in and kind of use that as a guide. But I really liked those, but that's okay. Leave a little bit there just to give me some starting points. One of the things I was talking about is this whisk has more metal loops than a normal or the whisk that most people, I would say, have in their homes. I have one of those too, so it might be interesting to when I get this painting so-called finished, to pull that out. And just so you can see how, the difference between the two, because this one's actually quite a bit bigger, so I have a feeling it was for a commercial application, whether it was a bakery or a chef's, commercial kitchen of some sort. Okay, so I'm gonna, I shouldn't have done it that way. I'll just use this here. The wood handle is really, if there was any paint on it or stain, it's very, very faded, bleached out. Okay, so I think I'll quickly just do, I have nothing left. It has a lot of metal loops, so I'm just kind of throwing some things in there as a starting point. Sorry about that, I have a brush in my mouth. And now, I gotta rinse my brush. Or do I? Yep, that's reverse of how I want to do this. All right. I think I'm going to have to come back to this in a bit. I think I have to let her tack up. I can work on this maybe just a little bit before I quit. Yeah, I need to stop. But anyway, all right. It doesn't look like a whisk at the moment. Looks more like a whisk when I started, but that reshaping was necessary. So actually I could put kind of just some general things in here. So these loops, okay, are going to be mirror image, so to speak. So if I have one coming down this way, it's going to be mirror image in perspective. And that was one of the things I had talked about. And what I mean by that a little bit is, like, if you look at this can here, and you know the top of that can is round. It's a round circle, right? And I think I got to get this more in the way of the thing. So I'm going to see if I can get myself caught up here. But anyway, so it's very round at the top. And then if you're looking at it, though, kind of like if it was sitting on a table and you're kind of eye level, the more eye level you are, and perpendicular, that top circle is going to start to flatten out, okay? And so it becomes not so much a circle, but a flatter and flatter and flatter oval, okay, until it gets to the point of maybe no return if you have just a very side view profile of that. And so a similar thing happens here. In order to make this whisk look three-dimensional is you have to, like the very outside ones here, okay, will have, almost the full circle thing, right? but then the one here is going to be a little bit less in the matter of like the can, it's not going to be as circular. It's going to become more oval shaped. And so this wire comes down, it's probably attached underneath these. There's a bunch of bound, wires that hold this particular thing. And then it's going to come down, okay, and it's going to be flattened out a little bit, and it's going to be, connected to the back side of this handle, which we don't really see, but it's kind of the same angle over on the other side though. So, we're doing something like that. And because this has so many, and I don't know, there's a part of it that I'm not understanding or I don't remember, but I know some of them cross the wires a little bit weird. So for right now, I'm going to leave this where it's at, and I'm really bummed that that earlier video didn't happen. It was just a complete black screen and no audio, and then I tried it again and I had audio but still no video, and there was a setting in my MacBook that I had to allow to do something, and then I had to fix something else. So all right, I'm going to end that here. I'll continue working on this, and it's going to be a challenge because it's just going to be a challenge. All right, till next time.